As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
The Pacific Experience Podcast.
John, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, it's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you, Lloyd. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Pacific Experience Podcast. I am Lloyd.
This is Nuefer.
And we're ready to fucking rock. This is episode 38. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a while. We're going on a month now when we do an episode. For that, I apologize. Life goes, life happens. But I'm so thankful because the fans are growing still, even with the lack of production, I shall say. But we're here. We're ready. We're dedicated. We're motivated. We're ready to go. Miss you all. Thank you so much. The feed hits, everything, the responses. We're growing, and we're so thankful for that. So, episode 38. John,
Episode
what's
38.
up, dude? What's up, John? John, what's up?
What? I don't know. The sky, motherfuckers.
What's good,
asking
man?
me these questions.
Yeah, what's good?
Everything's good. Everything's good. I worked a lot today. A lot of landscaping. It's tough. Tough work. My neck. You said my neck.
Yeah,
looked
your
like
neck is red as fuck.
Yeah.
Looked like someone just slapped the shit out of your neck.
Yeah, the sun slapped the shit out of my neck. It hurts, but it's
What
all
would you
good.
do
It
if
actually
someone-
feels good. I kind of like it, but
What would you
whatever.
do if someone walked up and smacked the shit out of your neck? Just a fucking stranger just walked up.
I turn around and just look at him.
That's all. You just look at them.
I think so. Well, first I'd be like, "What the fuck was that?" And then I'd turn around and, I'm not trying to beat anybody up, or I'm not trying to fight. So
Right. Well, anyways,
pretty peaceful. What do you want? You want an exciting story? Take him by the neck.
yeah, something
Rip
epic,
his
man.
ear
I mean,
off.
you wouldn't just. Would you really just stare at someone?
I'd be like, "What the fuck, bro?"
If they just
That'd be about it.
If they just walked up and just right in the back of the fucking neck.
Well,
dude.
if they went, if I turned around and said, "What the fuck, bro?" And
You
they,
wouldn't. I know you, John. You'd turn around and sock whoever was in the face.
No. I'm very peaceful.
Yeah,
I turn around
peaceful
first.
man.
I'd acknowledge like you just hit me in the back of the neck. Look at him in the eyes. Be like, "What the fuck, bro?" And then if he wants to keep going after that, then yeah, I'd probably like have to go for it. But
Yeah,
peace at all purpose.
I guess. Yeah, no, I agree. It's better to be peaceful and be like, dude, what the fuck? Because
Well-
someone may be wanting you to react. People do that. They fuck with you to get you to react.
Well,
Get you to react.
the worst experience is like walking into a bar and you bump into a guy and he's like, "What the fuck, man? I'm gonna fuck you up now, bro, because you fucking bumped into me." It's like, dude, what's your problem?
I think
Chill.
majority of people just look at that scenario and smile and apologize,
Yeah.
apologize and keep.
Well,
Unless
no.
you've had a couple drinks, then
Most
you're
people
fisticuffs immediately and like, "Hey, fuck, dude." I mean, I would almost respect someone more if they slapped me in the back of the neck, because I remember a few years ago I was in the parking lot and I saw these two guys just screaming at each other, and they were both doing that thing like, dude, they didn't look human, they actually looked like monkeys, where their chests were they're just bulking
Yeah.
out their chest, just
Yeah.
in each other's face, just flexing as hard as they could,
Yeah.
screaming like, you do something. No, they didn't.
Oh my god! Remember when Tyler Buckles fought? Who did he fight? Tyler Buckles.
Holy
Do you
shit! I
remember
haven't
that
heard
fight?
that name in a while. No,
Anthony Creighton.
was it?
Yeah.
Good old.
Yeah.
Good old. Oh, I think I
Yeah,
remember
dude.
hearing something about that.
Oh yeah,
I
saw
don't
it.
remember. Did you
It
see
was
it?
classic
Is it
puff
good?
chest. There were like
Yeah.
30 kids surrounding us. It was like just chest puffing.
Gosh,
You wouldn't do it anyways.
we're a bunch of fucking animals, man.
Yeah. Well, what kind of animal are we? A monkey or a ape or a lion?
Fucking human, man. Humans are
Human?
animals alone.
Yep.
Well, anyways, folks, thank you again for tuning in. Hey, while you're at it, give us a download, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, share us with your friends. That's the best way to help us grow. Yeah, and give us go ahead and give us a follow too. Check it out. You can go to on Instagram. We're at PackXPod. That is us on Instagram. Been posting stuff of the Pacific Northwest. If you go to outdoors, been fucking kayaking lately. Dude, I've been kayaking. Holy shit. Except I got a kayak that's like way too big.
You did get a giant kayak.
I got the Titanic of kayaks.
Bigger's
Like,
not always better.
It's not always, because I look like some fucking asshole who's breaking his back trying to just move it 5 feet into the water.
Yeah,
They're dude, the way I look when I'm trying to take it off of like the roof or
Yeah.
put it on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, especially when I'm in like a crowded parking lot where the cars are like, half a foot away from my car, and I'm like, anyways.
You're not the mountain either.
No, I'm not. I'm not the tall. For those of you who don't know, I'm not the tallest guy around, so I can only imagine, how it looks from afar. Anyways, while you're at it, now's the time, folks, to get your fucking carpet cleaned. Stop being lazy. Stop messing around. Stop staring at that freaking coffee stain or that shit stain that your dog left there a year ago. It is 2019 into summer, and guess what? Save the time while you're doing it. And save some money while you're at it, too. Check it out. Neat Nick's Carpet Cleaning. You can call them at 503-245-5277. That is Neat Nick's Carpet Cleaning up here in the upper left, USA, the Pacific Northwest. Mention PACXPRO, or promo code PACXPOD, and save 25%. A whole quarter. So save 25% off these services. Very professional, very friendly. Mention promo code PACXPOD. Jump on it, folks. Anywho, episode 38. We're rocking. We're live. John, we have 3 topics we wanted to discuss today. Yes, sir. What do we got?
I think we got number 1. It's the Matrix. What?
It's the Matrix.
No, it's the Matrix. All right, it's the Matrix.
Simulation theory. What do you know about it?
I don't know much about the theory. I know a lot about the movie, kind of.
The movie is the
Matrix.
theory.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
This is my question. When you brought this topic up, I was thinking about it, and the big question that came up for me was, did people, like in the 1700s, have an idea of a simulation
Of
theory?
what this could be?
Yeah.
I don't
the
think
Matrix.
so. I don't think so, because I don't
think
know
so?
the name of the guy, but I think the first guy to write a book about it was in 2003.
Mm-hmm. Simulation theory?
Correct. You might find some shit on some ancient walls somewhere.
Well, they're not going to call it. They're not going to call it simulation theory.
You're right.
But there might be theories, like there might be people back in the day, like 1700s, talking about how this is all just a.
What would they even name that? Like,
I don't know.
what's the verbiage they would use?
We got to look into it.
That's a good question.
That's my big question.
That's a good question to have with simulation theory. Do you think they could even comprehend what it would be?
Absolutely.
Well, first,
you have Plato and Socrates,
right?
just killer philosophers.
Right. Marcus Aurelius, who wasn't a philosopher, but
they came up with
one.
some pretty great philosophy. Just awesome philosophy. So about life, about consciousness, things like
Right.
that. So, and they were deep thinkers. So I'm pretty sure they could conceptualize like anything that we can conceptualize today. The only difference.
It's a good point. I believe you.
Is
I'm down with
technology.
that. Yeah. Well, we have technology to assist us in closing that bridge of understanding.
Yeah.
Of I guess, or maybe it's getting in the way
Ooh. Yeah, it might
of
be.
understanding.
Because we're thinking that it might be bits and, bytes and bits and 1 zeros.
Right, ones and zeros, and we think of like a grid. You know what I mean? Like when it shows what the Matrix looks like through Neo's eyes. In the Matrix, I think helps kind of identify what you and I are talking about here. I mean, because everything is ones and zeros, and it's as if he can stick his hand through a wall.
Well, the one thing that we do know is that this world has rules, and
that govern flesh and blood.
Well, flesh, blood, and all material on Earth. And we have cracked that code. We understand atoms. We have equations for how the world works, the universe. We have mathematics.
Is that what
measures
cracking the
it.
code means? Because
Absolutely.
well, you can't just jump up 50 feet and jump back down.
Of course not, because that breaks
That's
the
breaking
laws.
the law, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are laws, and we know how to work with the laws, but we don't know how to break the laws. Not yet.
I don't know. It goes back to when Neo, when he moves the spoon with his mind.
Is that what simulation theory is all about? Breaking the laws?
Yes. No. I mean, in the Matrix, it is, but that's kind of the fun way to go about it. But I mean, if you really want, first, I think it's the idea of simulation theory. I think is fascinating.
Are we in a simulation?
That's the question. Are we in a simulation? You know, a lot of bigwigs out there think we are. Okay. Elon Musk says that it's a 1 in a billion chance that we're not. And he's not the only one. Okay, Bill Gates thinks it too.
I'm a believer in soul. Most people are a believer in a soul. So, in saying so, if there is a soul, and if there's a metaphysical world, a world that we cannot see, if we can't sense, we can't measure, then yeah, absolutely. Especially if everybody thinks that's real, and if that is real, I definitely believe it's real. That means this world definitely is a matrix of some sort that's simply holding our soul, our metaphysical body, away from, who knows what it is, right?
Yeah.
Heaven, hell.
Right, absolutely. And you and I both being two religious guys could maybe agree on this. I think that the simulation theory is true. We are a simulation. And I think that it's just God's simulation.
Mm-hmm. The one disappointing thing, though, is if this is a simulation, and in fact, like, when you say simulation, that makes me feel like I don't have free will.
And that's a fascinating thing to discuss. So, you've already made that decision, though.
Am I a player in the simulation that has decisions?
That has the free will?
Or am I just part of the big simulation?
Well, what about when you're playing a football video game?
Uh-huh.
Does your player have free will, or is he being controlled?
He's being controlled.
At all times?
Yes. The player that you're playing?
Yeah, because what you could do is you could, just like how in this world, in this life we live, a set of laws have been written, and the simulation is you convince the players that they have free will, and you watch them go. Mm-hmm. You could set a game to be AI for the Seahawks and the 49ers and put the controller down, mm-hmm. and it will still act out. Mm-hmm. And are they acting out? And if they were convinced they had free will, they would think they're free. Mm-hmm. But then a player can't a player take control? Can't a player take control though? And then they don't have the decision?
Yes. They don't have the decision.
It's bizarre to think about, isn't it? I mean, we opened up a rabbit hole here.
No decision. Okay. No decisions being made. I think we're definitely making decisions here on Earth.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, Neo says that in the Matrix, I believe. I don't know if it's the first or second. I think it's the second one. He says the Oracle offers him candy. And he says, if you already knew what my decision would be, he says, then why would you ask me?
Right.
And I can't remember what she says, and he says,
I think the Oracle's full of shit. Totally full of shit.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, I'm watching the second one. I just watched the first one, so this is fresh in my mind. I went after it after thinking about the simulation theory. I gotta watch The Matrix again. So luckily, actually, it's on Netflix right now, too.
Yeah.
I went and searched on Netflix, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's the first time I've wanted to watch something out of curiosity, searched Netflix first, and saw that it was on there.
Mm-hmm. You know what's pissing me off about Netflix? Like, they keep taking stuff, put stuff on, take stuff off. So Rocky was on for like a month and a half, right? It was like, all right, Rocky. You know why Rocky was on there?
Why?
Rocky was on there because Creed was coming out. So it was a promo for Creed, right? Creed 2, right? So they're trying to get it in your head. You got to go see the movie. Creed's paying Netflix to put Rocky on. That's what's going on. Pisses me off because now that Creed's done or whatever, it already premiered, they took Rocky off. Rocky's off. So last night, my buddies came over. They're like, well, let's watch something American because Memorial Day, right? So I was like, yeah, America. Right. Let's get this done. Let's do it. And it's going to be great. So we go to put on Rocky, and it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And I just realized it's a ploy. It's a dirty little ploy. And
it is.
And guess what?
They got you.
Netflix.
They got you by the fucking balls,
Netflix
dude.
Kind of come after me for this, but Netflix is some bullshit.
Because they took Rocky off after a month?
No, not because they took Rocky off. I think Netflix is a demonic corporation, and everything they put out is evil and ugly and dirty, and it's fucking gross. And I'm tired of watching it. Tired of it. Fucking full of shit.
They probably maybe. What if they're not demonic, but in order for them to continue survival, they have to play by the demonic rules?
No, dude. No.
Dude, I've always I don't know, because I agree with you. I'll look at the
Netflix
algorithms
films.
sometimes, and I'll coincide the shit that comes out with what's going on in the world, and then I'll be like, this seems like just. It almost seems like CNN owns it.
Yeah. Well, did you know? I think it's like 50% of the streaming that's done online is Netflix.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard the
And,
other day that it was porn.
Maybe it's
Half porn, half
Netflix.
Netflix.
You know what? My facts are probably all messed up, but I can observe that like almost all the Netflix films that come out are part of a big agenda. It's obvious, and it's all.
Is it part
it's
of
all
Agenda 21?
It's all about desensitizing, and it's just pissing me off. I can't even watch it anymore. Unfortunately,
I agree with you,
I'm
man.
gonna get rid of it. It's sickening.
It made me stop watching movies, and now I catch myself just trying to find movies by word.
Netflix movies aren't even good. No.
I will say what I liked on Netflix they haven't put on there is what's it called, that Peaky Blinders show. Fucking sick.
Yeah. You know how you know how I know we're
made
not
in BBC.
You know how I know we're not in the Matrix? Because fucking shitty ass corporations like Netflix exist.
Maybe the point of this Matrix is to yeah.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Like, if there was a Matrix, all right, what's the whole point? By the way, like, if we're in a Matrix, like,
well, what all the guys who pursue the idea of it, who go down this rabbit hole, the questions they ask. First, they try to convince people we are in a Matrix. Then, when they do that, they ask the question of why would whoever it was who put us in a Matrix put us in a Matrix. And basically they start off by pointing out the science and the math behind the possibility of other life existing in the universe. And then they said the likelihood of them creating a simulation is extreme. Like the odds are too much for them.
It's not going to happen or will happen.
They said they would.
Why?
And that's what they all say
Why
is
would,
why.
all right, so
they say the reasons why could be that, one, as a playback in history to see where they got to where they are now, and just for the same reason why we do it. Pong started 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was 2 boards and a ball. Mm-hmm. Look at video games now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If you take that, if you look at that growth, and if you want to gauge that out at any percent of growth that you want, let's use the one that's realistic from Pong to now. Let's say if that's the growth to measure, and then we look at 1,000 years from now, not even 100 years from now, we will eventually get to a point to where video game will be you will not be able to distinguish the difference between real life and the game. We're heading in that direction, and for how far we've gone in just 40 years. So if you take that amount of growth, and even if it slows down, even if that growth slows down and even stops, we will still eventually reach that point. And once we reach that point, what will happen then? And so the question is, why does the video game realm exist today? Well, everything, look at movies now, they're not made with actors, they're made by the same Pixar type. Look at the video games that are made now, and it's as simple as profit, that's what it comes down to, but we're doing it for entertainment purposes now. But
you ever seen 13 Monkeys? That movie with Bruce Willis?
That sounds familiar, but with Bruce Willis? No. Yeah. Tell me about it.
I think it's called 13 Monkeys. I'm really bad with remembering
13
names.
Monkeys.
But it's a movie with Bruce Willis, and he's a prisoner, and what they do is they take these prisoners and they send them back in time. Right? So maybe this is how time travel is possible. Because we're all in a simulation of a simulation, because eventually, over time, of existence of a human race or any kind of race, they'll eventually put themselves in a simulation. So we could just be simulations of simulations of simulations, and you can start doing time travel because you can figure out how to, break out in or out of the simulation. That's
what Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
Huh?
He talks about that. we're probably a simulation and a simulation and a simulation. And the question for him is, if you were to throw a dart through that, would it land at the first original, or would it continue?
I think the most reasonable thing to conclude is that we are the first one, because that's all we can observe. Nobody's observed a glitch in the system.
Right.
So,
well, what we do know for sure is that we exist.
Absolutely.
You yourself right now, who's listening to this podcast and who's breathing, the only thing that you know for sure is that you are existing. They talk about the virtual reality thing, and John, I've started to connect a dot between the question that Alan Watts puts up, that you and I both kind of just shot down when he says, if you can hear it, does a tree make noise if no one's there to hear it? And you and I are both like, well, yeah, it does. And I agree with you, but I'm fascinated by that question. To go off topic, a buddy of mine who's also an Alan Watts, who told me about, he said, actually texted me this morning, and he said that he doesn't agree with Alan Watts with the conclusions he has, but he loves the way that he thinks. And I was like, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
I have different conclusions, but his thought process on things, I'm almost obsessed with.
Well, it's great to think of things outside of the box. Like, it's really important to question what people teach you. You know, it's super important. And so Alan Watts got into Eastern philosophy, which, you know, kind of helped mold
after growing up
how he thinks after growing up in the Western world, right? So he embraced Eastern philosophy, and Eastern philosophy is the yin and yang, you know,
right? The great
eternal chasing the tail kind of thing.
Yeah.
And and so it might not be 100% original. The way he thinks.
Right.
It's a good thing, you know, it's a good thing the way he thinks, but I think there's a reason why in the Western world it hasn't been accepted, is because when you come home and, when you leave home, you go to work, and while you're at work, a tornado rips through your house, and you get home and your house has had a tornado rip through it, you weren't there to see it, but it damn well happened.
That's a good point. What made me connect the dot between the two is when someone said, imagine if we were wearing virtual reality goggles and we were in a simulation theory, or we were basically playing a game, and the graphics, you couldn't distinguish between real and not real, right? Well, when you were wearing these VR goggles, when you turn around real quick, the world that is behind you did not exist. It existed as you turned around to look at it. Right. Therefore, you're creating reality with your eyes. So in a virtual reality world, that's true. And if we are in a simulation, then it doesn't make a noise if the tree falls. A noise, not the damage, not the damage in the ground, like you said, the tornado, not the powder popping up in the snow if it falls, but the noise.
If nobody's there to hear it.
If no one's there to hear it, does it make the noise?
That's the question.
I guess. Alan Watts posed that question.
Nobody's there to, of course it does.
I agree with you, but I'm obsessed with thinking with the idea that I might be wrong. I like the idea that I could be wrong, and I like the question.
I like the idea that a software wouldn't waste its processing power on some bullshit out on the other side of the map when it's irrelevant to the players. So they're going to use all the processing power on what's happening around the player's immediate space, right? So totally makes sense.
Dude, in The Matrix, Morpheus asks Neo, and he says, do you believe in free will? And Neo says, no. Or not free will, I'm sorry, excuse me. He says, do you believe in destiny? And he said, no. And he said, why? And he said, because I like to think that I make my own choices. And he said, me too. And they're coinciding, or they're pretty much putting the differences together about the Matrix and not being in the Matrix, being plugged in and not. And it's fascinating just to think of the simulation theory. I mean, for those who, if someone doesn't know what the simulation theory is, I doubt they're still listening. But for those who may not really know what we're talking about, or maybe who have not seen the Matrix, simulation theory is the fact that our senses could be hijacked, because right now we are limited to only our senses unless we are sleeping. And those senses, hearing, sight, and all that, is what essentially is the Matrix, the simulation theory. Think about a video game, The Sims, the computer game The Sims. What if, through years and years of evolution, of building that game, you could write enough codes and laws to convince the players, the NPCs, that they were, that they had free will, consciousness. What if that level would be Eve eating the apple off the tree? That level up, you know, what maybe we weren't supposed to in this simulation, and the evil ones, the serpent, convinced us to be aware. Because look, you look at an animal, not just a dog, but it's fascinating to think about when does a creature recognize themselves in a mirror? And if they don't, but there's a chance that they might recognize another thing like them, but not understand that it's them, do they have consciousness? Because they're not identifying that is me. They're identifying that as another thing like them, or they don't identify it at all. They just don't see themselves. And I remember paying attention to my child when she was born, I was fascinated by being able to know when she could see herself in the mirror, because she couldn't. She'd look right in the mirror, and she wouldn't identify herself. Until one day she was like, "That's me," and I watched her eyes widen.
Right.
What is the difference between the point when you can't identify yourself in the mirror and you can? And I think it has to do with the same thing as not eating the apple, eating the apple. The same thing as convincing a character in a video game that they have free will and self-consciousness. If you're going to compare it to the simulation theory, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, I don't know. I think that so the eating from the tree is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? I'm not sure how much that has to do with being able to recognize yourself in the mirror, because I know dogs and cats, some can recognize themselves, some can't. I don't know. Some are tweaked. Cats tweak out when they see another cat.
Shit? You think the
mirror
doesn't mean
thing?
anything?
Mirror thing.
It's
I like
possible.
I like the thought, but I don't think it's that relevant to. I think I think this. So you definitely have to have some sort of awareness if you can recognize yourself in the mirror, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can agree
There's
with
awareness
that, I think.
of self. So like dolphins, for example, have a great awareness of self. They know they exist.
Dolphins and orcas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dolphins, orcas. I feel like everything in nature
Does a deer know it exists?
Absolutely. I think a deer does. I think fish have problems though, like a salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see
I
that.
think they're more instinct. That's a tough question.
Do they contemplate though? Do they know the difference between good and evil? A deer.
Good and evil?
Does a deer
No.
know the difference between good and evil?
No.
So no, they're not awake.
No,
They haven't eaten the apple. I don't think they
can
are.
be self-aware.
Self-aware,
but
yes.
not
That's
know
not.
good and evil. We're the only things on this planet that interpret good and evil.
But they're playing their role in the simulation. They're not aware of themselves outside of it. This is so fascinating to talk because we don't even know the right words to use. But
yeah.
do you know what I mean? I don't think that they will react to a threat. They will eat when hungry. They'll comprehend that cars are bad and don't cross the road when they're there. They'll know that humans are. They'll know who their family is. I know all that, but that doesn't mean that they know the difference between good and evil.
They don't.
That doesn't mean that they're awake.
No, they don't know
Doesn't
the
mean they're
difference
conscious.
because good and evil. Well, a lot of people listening to this podcast will probably yelling at us saying, "Well, good and evil is a human construct. That's something that we created."
Okay, yes, we're using the true,
right?
Yes, but we're using for the sake of us being able to have this conversation with the limits that we have. Since we're limited with language to begin with,
right?
You and I are using that portion of language to discuss this topic.
Right.
So
one thing that I do know is animals do have compassion. They show compassion towards other animals. They're also vicious as flying fuck. So
we are too. I mean, on accident when I was driving out in the middle of nowhere for work. Not on accident. I took a different route, and out in the absolute middle of nowhere, I saw, like 1,000 cows.
1,000.
Like all lined up, fattened as shit, and they were all just Dude, it was very obvious what that place was.
Have you ever heard
It
of
was a fucking
mass?
slaughterhouse,
Have you
dude.
ever heard of mass cow?
There's even cameras out on the road, like out in the middle of nowhere. I thought I was accidentally driving up on like a fucking military base.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Ha!
I didn't know they surrounded their places with cameras.
Yeah, you're not surrounded. I mean, it wasn't like a fucking watchtower with a machine
Compound.
gun or anything. You know, there was no barbed wire fence. But
Have you ever heard of cows committing mass suicide?
I have heard of that.
I've never researched it, but I've heard
It's
of
in
it.
the
I don't
Bible.
know if it's a real thing. Is it?
It is.
Really?
I don't think it's cows. I think it's what is it? What animal is it?
There were
Where
tons
basically Jesus cast the demon out of some people,
Oh,
and they go
pigs.
into animals. Pigs. That's
And
right. It was
swine.
pigs. Yeah.
yeah,
and
it was like
And they
1,400.
they
swine.
ran into the water and drowned
Yeah, it was like over 1,000.
because the demon left the human and went into the pig. Yeah.
Yeah, demons. There's like
Demons.
tons
Yeah.
of demons. in
Yeah.
him. And he had like chains, and he broke out of the chains. Like they tried to chain him down, but they couldn't. It's not in the Bible
That's knuck
that
and
they
futs.
chained him down, but like the people.
Yeah.
And so he
Yeah.
had the chains, and he's just nuts. He's totally nuts. It's a crazy story.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy story. If you believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are at that time for a break, so we're going to take a quick break. Folks, let us know what you think. Drop a comment. Give us a like. Send us an email at pacificexperience@gmail.com.
Matrix.
Matrix? What? Yeah, but seriously, give us a thumbs up, give us a download, give us a like, give us a follow, all the above. Please, if you like hearing us, if you like what you hear right now, do that. Share us with your friends, maybe not with your family. And while you're at it, call 503-245-5277. That is 503-245-5277 if you reside in the Pacific Northwest, basically from my knowledge from Portland to basically Bellingham, and maybe even outside of that. Give these guys a call. I'm not kidding. Meet Nick's Carpet Cleaning. Best that you can get around there. 25% off. Just mention promo code PACXPOD. We're going to take a short break. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 38. We're feeling great.
Yeah, great.
We'll be back with you after the break. Back.
We are back.
Ready to attack.
I'm not going there. Not
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
follow that.
yeah.
Nope. No rhymes today. Because rhyming is a crimin', brother. Rhyming's a crimin'. We are back. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Pack X. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for tuning in. Back from the break on episode 38.
Episode 38.
That's right, I'm Lloyd.
I am John.
Holy smokes, we got some bullshit to talk about.
Stupid bullshit.
We took a break, we went outside.
Yep.
We were just sitting there at the fucking
Stars, smoking
Yeah.
a joint.
almost. Yeah. Almost. Yeah. But you mentioned Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Dude,
Bigfoot. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
So I've never been interested in the whole, for me being as much as a conspiracy guy, I guess, whatever that I am.
Yep.
I've never been into the idea of Bigfoot. So
Mm.
recently I was like, fuck it. Let me, I watched a documentary.
Right.
It sucked. I went on to the next one. That one sucked. Finally, the third one was okay, and I was intrigued. Still not that interested.
Bigfoot's tough to be interested in because there's like no real evidence for Bigfoot. Other
Right.
than like eyewitnesses, it's like, what do you have? Do we have Bigfoot fur? Do we really?
No,
Do we have any, like, we got some Bigfoot prints, but like, what else do you have? You got some
do
lame
you think
footage.
that Bigfoot gives birth or lays eggs?
We would have found a dead Bigfoot by now, but I think Bigfoot gives birth, and I think they might live underground in caves, and they're really smart. Maybe.
Could you imagine
Or
if
maybe
you
they-
walked into a cave and saw like two Bigfoots fucking?
And they're like, yeah. Just speak Australian accents or something.
Right. There's actually like a couple candles lit, and like the fuck.
Yeah. There's just like roses everywhere. They're wearing like
Well, I mean-
headdresses.
I mean, we got to talk about Bigfoot being up here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm just honestly, man, maybe this is for people from outside of the PNW. No,
Bigfoot. Here's what Bigfoot is. Bigfoot is
It's the Yeti.
no.
It's
No,
the
Bigfoot-
snow version, bro.
Bigfoot is a myth of the 60s, 70s, 80s. It no longer exists. Nobody gives a shit about Bigfoot. Nope. If you give a shit about Bigfoot, I want you to message us right now. Okay? Message us right now. That'd be great because, I don't know. I just don't think it's a thing anymore. I'd love to say
I don't
it
think
is.
so either. I think there's just more important and more mind-blowing conspiracies out there than.
I think people are
Bigfoot.
focused on government conspiracies right now. I think
I think
that's
so,
the
too.
biggest one, biggest trend.
I think so too. Yeah. I think what really did it was the whole Trump and Hillary thing, and then the media thing. Just
Like,
kinda
what else do
caused
people think
everyone-
about?
Well, I think what really started with fucking 9/11 in Bush and the war, and then from there everything just fucking.
American
Holy
guys,
shoot!
American girls, we always stand up.
Who do you?
We're
talking about
we
the,
always recognize.
Are you fucking singing over
What?
there?
Yeah, I'm singing.
I said, what are you
America.
fucking singing over there?
Singing America.
For
That's red, white, and blue. Toby Keith.
red, white, blue.
Yeah.
Tell your fucking
Get off
enemies
my.
that they
Yeah, get off my lawn. You don't get off my lawn right now.
fucking spit on me and my land. Fucking
You know
son
what? I
of a
used
bitch.
to believe in Bigfoot. There's the legend of Boggy Creek. Have you ever heard of that?
I can see you, John,
That's a
fucking
good one.
hunting Bigfoot in like a children's made ghillie suit made out of leaves and fucking tape.
I got no problem hunting Bigfoot. I would hunt Bigfoot. I go tell the old lady, I'd be like, I'm hunting Bigfoot. I'll be gone
Yeah.
for like however long that takes.
As a child, or just recently you did this?
Never did it. Never done it. Never done it. Some people do though. Some people dedicate their whole lives to like
Right.
chasing ghosts.
You know, it's interesting in the movie The Matrix, the movie I'm currently watching right now, the second one, Revolutions.
I don't know.
Reloaded.
Reloaded. Yep.
No, it's Revelations is the third. So I'm watching Reloaded, and she's the Oracle.
Reloaded.
Again, the Oracle. Yep.
Reloaded.
So the Oracle talks about how programs within this program, when they don't obey and they face the chance of being deleted, then they act out. And she's like, you hear about them all the time. And Neo goes, I've never heard of them. And she goes, yes, you have. Whenever you've heard people talk about ghosts or vampires or aliens, that's the program. Those are programs basically hiding to not be deleted. Like, huh? Haven't
Well-
really thought about it yet, but what do you think?
I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. That's
It is
good.
cool.
That's good sci-fi writing
For the
right
movie,
there.
yeah, totally.
Good sci-fi
agree.
writing. I mean, you gotta use these real-world things and make explanations in movies. It's great. Fuck the Oracle, by
Fucking-
the way. She's full of
Fucking
shit. She is
shit.
full of shit. Full of it.
Well, that's what he says. He
That's
says,
what I think.
so you're a computer program? And he goes, how do I know I can trust you? I can't remember. She says some Oracle bullshit, right back
Full
to
of
him.
it. She doesn't know
That's-
shit. Who is this lady? And all of her power. Whatever. What's up with
So,
her?
John, I've been getting really into
Yeah?
Jordan Peterson recently.
Yeah, JP.
JP.
That big brain JP. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah. And, what we did have next on our list was, one of them was media in the mind.
Okay.
I almost feel like the media they're like the referees of this Matrix. In this episode, assuming that we are theming life as a Matrix.
They're the referee.
Yeah, trying to be. They're not, but they're trying to be.
I think they're just the tools of the programmers, you know. Yep. I think the media is always part of the conspiracy, but there's some great things that come from the media, like private media, like regular people, you know.
Absolutely.
And then when here's the thing, here's the problem with the media is the media are all hired by somebody who wants certain news heard. That's the problem with the media. You got people, they're hired, they by somebody. Okay, well that's the big thing. Lloyd's cracking up over here, but it's true. It's true. You got, they don't want to lose their job. So you report the right kind of stuff that the network's looking for.
Oh, that's how it goes anywhere. I think that's the money is what keeps us at bay for doing something that you don't want to truly do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is I feel like majority of the human population there. Yeah, man.
I love my job.
I
Yep.
like my job. I love my job.
I love my job.
I love what I do.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, we're lucky.
Yep, very lucky.
But also work hard for it. Speaking of, that's pretty much my biggest takeaway from Jordan Peterson so far is to stop. What is it, dude? He said, I love this. This goes to the media and the people who just fucking zone out and numb out and watch that shit and just fucking believe every single thing that they're told and roll with it. It's almost like a click. You know what I mean? It's like a click that someone wants to fit into.
Mm-hmm.
When I I listen to it as much as anyone else. I really do. I don't watch it. I do not watch the news, but I listen and I do my own research. There's some things that I like. We also have to. I'm not going to go on a rant about that. Just listen to this, dude. Jordan Peterson said, "People are being fed the diet of rights and freedoms. There is something pathologically wrong with that. People are starving for the antidote. The antidote is truth and responsibility."
Wow. It's good.
It is good. I think it's a good, just blatant fucking saying to basically the people.
Yeah, everybody.
Everyone. Humanity.
He's questioning character. That's what it is. Instead of questioning, he's questioning character. So this is what you need to think about, not this material stuff. It's how you act, not what you're doing, but how you're doing it.
You have to acknowledge the truth of who you are and what you are and be responsible for that.
Absolutely.
For your role, not in society, in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. I mean, it's as simple as that. So just own up to it.
That's what makes the world go round. People are owning up to things. If people stopped owning up to things, then it just it gets bad. Everybody's had an experience with a liar,
Yeah.
It's not, liars just destroy lives. If they're constantly lying, it's like, okay, this will never work. So that's the thing.
It's better to, it's better to be honest and wrong than to be
a liar that's right.
That's right. Absolutely. I think the only way to pursue individual and social harmony is with courage and responsibility. That's my takeaway from kind of a lot of the influences that I've been into this last month since the last episode, and it's really done a lot, to say the least. I stopped worrying about what was outside of me, and that's really what I've been doing, is worrying about what's not in my control. And I also realized the power that I have within myself. So I owned up, dude. I picked up a lot healthier lifestyle.
This is good.
And I gave someone advice the other day. This is advice that this is something that I've been telling myself that I've actually been doing and it works.
Okay.
And I told someone, always act as if when you go to work, if you have good work ethic but things aren't working out, act as if your boss is watching you through the camera at all times. Sounds miserable. May sound wrong, but watch how it will improve the quality of your work.
Mm-hmm.
And I told someone, a good way for someone to probably get over an anger problem is when you're at home, imagine your wife's fathers in the house at all times.
Oh, that's good.
And especially, it's easy, I think, for me. I have a daughter, so it's easy for me to think,
Yeah, that's
to even
good.
think like that too.
That's really
It's
good.
it's things like that if you can use the self-discipline to, even though you may be fine, but if you really want to completely get rid of something that that you may used to that may used to gain control of you at times and may not anymore, but it could still be there. You can actually get rid of it. You can be you're responsible for getting rid of what is the truth. Ignoring it is not being truthful to yourself. Then once you acknowledge it, you have to be responsible for it. And I'm using those simple 2 steps, and I'm trying to apply them in everything in my life. What is the truth, and how do I be responsible for that? If you need some water,
I'm thirsty.
we're out of it right there, but we got the tap water. Tap water up here in the P&Dubs ain't too bad, man. I would just go straight from They got a fucking hose outside. Shit, get out there and take yourself a couple sips. Yeah, man, I'm learning a whole bunch from Jordan Peterson. That led me back into something that I used to look into in the past and haven't actually taken qualities and started adapting them, was Stoicism.
What is Stoicism?
I think Stoicism is stripping oneself of all materials and things that they believe that they need, and mainly of things that they want, down to just themselves and experiencing what they only truly need.
Wow, that's really good. I like it. There's also being a stoic, like
Right.
in front of people, which is really good too. It's kind of important to be stoic
I
and
see.
not be, rash or.
I haven't heard it been used in that context.
Basically, being stoic is being like really put together, and in everybody's eyes, like this guy, is a true example, right? Being stoic,
It's motivating, man.
Yep.
So this whole time I've been trying to imagine people in their underwear, but I should have just been a fucking stoic.
Yeah. Yeah, just be like, no.
Is it easy to just be a stoic, though, you think?
Well, people have their own characters, so having your own character, like some people are super quirky, so it's really hard for them to be like stoic, in people's eyes.
I think the problem with people out there who may want this, what we're talking about, and can't get there,
Right.
I think that people acknowledge. I don't know how to word it.
You know how people become stoics? People become stoics through history. That's how you become a stoic. It's really hard to be a stoic, in real life, but through history, people can really build people up, and
Right.
paint a picture of somebody, like Abraham Lincoln, stoic, right? Alexander the Great, all these people. So.
Yeah, so that's just the way I see the stoic and how it works.
Man, it's gotten late. Well, John,
Lloyd.
we got to do this more.
Yeah,
We
definitely
got-
have to.
At it. I think we're getting rusty, if I'm so bold to say. I think we need to do this at a more I've been taking notes. I have a lot of interesting stuff in regards to the mind, the matrix, the media, the 3 M's, if you will. So during these discoveries, and as I kind of learn a lot of things that I see working out, benefiting my life, I will come on the microphone and talk with y'all, share it. So thank you everyone for tuning in. This is episode 38. You can check us out at packxpodcast.com. You can also go to Instagram at packxpod. Share us with your friends. Thank you so much. Thank you. Things are going really well. Also, too, I got actually some t-shirts ordered. By the way, John, remind me to take one before you leave.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I know we have t-shirts.
Yeah,
Surprise.
it's a little
Pleasant
test.
surprise.
So I'm not going to be, it's nothing crazy, but it's a little test. So lots of exciting things are coming. So we're going to be doing this at more frequent levels. Thank you all for the break within there, but please share us with your friends. Give us a download, give us a like, And we'll be talking with you all soon. This is episode 38. I'm Lloyd.
I'm John.
Thanks so much for tuning in. It's the Pack X Podcast.
So, woo!